The iron stench of Capua's barracks clung to Spartacus' skin like a second shackle, a bitter reek that no wind could scour away. Dust swirled in the Ludus yard, kicked up by the bare feet of men who knew no rest. Beneath the sun's merciless glare, the air thrummed with the clink of chains and the low mutter of Thracian curses. Spartacus stood, his wrists raw from manacles, watching his brothers in rebellion hone their defiance against Rome's yoke. Crixus, broad as an ox, sat cross-legged on the baked earth, his Sicca blade rasping against a whetstone. Each stroke sang a screeching hymn of vengeance, the blade's edge catching the light like a wolf's bared fang. Nearby, Oenomaus, the dour Gaul, knelt in the dirt, his calloused fingers tracing runes on a scrap of leather. "Adler frisked wolf," he murmured, voice like gravel, invoking some northern god as his knife carved the words, "Eagle devours wolf." Beyond him, Castus, wiry and hawk-eyed, twisted vine ropes, their green fibers creaking as he knotted them tight, his hands stained with sap and hope. The men moved as one, bound not by chains but by a shared fire that Rome could not douse. In the shadow of Vesuvius, Oenomaus had kindled that fire. His voice, rough as a gale, had roused 5 cities to rebellion: Capua, Nola, Thurii, Pompeii, Nuceria. In a single dawn, their gates flew open, not by force but by treachery within. Slaves slipped through sewers, their blades dripping with the blood of sleeping guards. In Capua, gladiators shattered their Ludus gates, spilling into streets where torches flared and matrons screamed. In Nola, smiths turned their hammers on centurion skulls. In Thurii, fishermen slit nets to choke Roman quays. Oenomaus' plan struck like lightning, each city a spark igniting the next, and for a fleeting moment, the Republic trembled. Crixus, ever bold, carried the flame to Mount Garganus. He lured 2 legions into a narrow pass, where cliffs loomed like the jaws of Cerberus. His men, clad in stolen larica, waved false standards, their shouts echoing as if a full cohort marched. The Romans, sweating under their crested helms, pressed forward, their hobnails crunching shale. Then Crixus sprang the trap. Boulders rolled from the heights, crushing shields and spines. Gladiators leapt from ledges, Sicca blades flashing, cutting down men before they could draw gladii. Blood mixed with rain, its copper tang thick in the air, as Crixus roared, his laughter shaking the pass. The legions broke, their Aquila toppled in the mud, and the slaves' cheers drowned the cries of the dying. But at Garganus Peak, fate turned. A pilum, hurled from a centurion's desperate hand, pierced Crixus' lung midlath. He fell, blood frothing on his lips, his Sicca clattering on stone. The Gauls gathered round, their dirges rising like smoke, low and timid, as they anointed his brow with lamb fat and pressed a torque of twisted bronze into his stiffening hand. They burned his body on a pyre of pine, the acrid scent curling skyward, and cast his ashes to the wind, denying Rome a trophy. Castus, his eyes hollow, urged Spartacus north. He unrolled a lambskin map, its edges cracked, the scent of old hide mingling with the dust of their camp. His finger traced the Alpine passes, rugged paths where Rome's legions could not follow. Cross the mountains, he urged, voice taut as the vine ropes he still twisted. Freedom lies beyond. Spartacus listened, his gaze distant, his fingers tracing the crusting blood on his nails. Crixus' blood, smeared in their last embrace. He shook his head, jaw set like iron. The Alps offered escape, but not vengeance. Rome's heart still beat, and Spartacus would carve it out. The rebellion pressed south, a tide of iron and fire. Yet Crassus, Rome's golden wolf, hunted them. His legions, disciplined as a phalanx, cornered the slaves on a Bruttian plain. Castus fought, vine ropes swapped for a gladius, until a centurion's blade split his skull. Gannicus, too, fell, his throat opened by a pilum, blood soaking the earth like wine. Crassus ordered their bodies raised on crosses, their tituli proclaiming rebel slave in crude chalk. Miners' palms, rough as pumice, drove nails through wrists, though it's slick with sweat and vinegar's sharp sting. Scribes, their styluses scratching, erased names from scrolls, washing Castus, Garganus, and thousands more from history's ledger. Rain fell, smearing the tituli, and the crosses groaned under their weight, lining the Appian Way like silent sentinels. Yet beneath one cross, in the churned mud, a child's hand found a Gaulish torque, its bronze warmed by the earth. The boy clutched it, eyes wide, as if Crixus' spirit whispered through the metal. For weeks, 6,000 crosses lined the Appian Way, their shadows stretching across the road like bars of a cage. But in the mud beneath Crixus' empty shackles, that torque gleamed, a spark unquenched, defying Rome's erasure.